It's the obligatory terrible whatchamacallit, you know, it's the title sequence music. Of course, it always is. I'm good at this stuff. I'm getting good at this stuff. Ah, have I jinxed it? Have I jinxed it? I've probably jinxed it. But what I haven't jinxed is you lot. Hello, hello. Welcome to yet another PrusABlok stream. Because, hey, why not? How are all of your lovely faces on this day of the week that is a Tuesday? Because, of course, it's Tuesday. It's 1 o'clock in the UK. It is 2 p.m. It's 1 p.m. in the UK. It is 2 p.m. in Europe. It is 8 a.m. on the east coast of the United States, which means it is a time appropriate meal stream. As usual. Yes, because hey, why not? Herzl, you delightful individual, hello to you. Good morning, Neverland. Good morning to you, Verdugo. Hello. How are you beautiful faces? You beautiful faces? How are your beautiful faces? Spectra! Hello! Good day! Oh, just crawled out of bed. I mean, if you're able to crawl back into bed, that's always good, unless you can have food. I mean, we all know at this point that Verdugo is not going to have breakfast. Verdugo never has breakfast. Yes. Herzl. Yes. Hello. So, coming up this week, or should I say today, we are going to be Tinkercadding. Because Tinkercad, you know, why not? I use Tinkercad. That is my bias. I feel it works well for me. It's what I know, and it's the barrier to entry that is the smallest one that I can think of. So it works. It works because hey, yeah, that is the plan for today. We are Tinkercadding. We're also going to do some whatchamacallit. Sorry. We are also going to be doing some base level prints of. Hang on. I'm good at stuff. My brain's just fallen out of my ears. We're also going to be doing some prints on the PrusABlok in its default Prusa Mini state, so that we are able to evaluate the print quality in its stock configuration. I'm gesturing up here because I've moved it. It is now, if I go to the top-down shot, I've now moved that camera to point at the Prusa Mini. So the Prusa Mini is now here, here, here. Either way, it's now up on that shelf so that we can send a print to it in its stock state and just check in on it every now and again. Alongside that, we have got this one. Well, we should have this one. No, really? Of course not. Of course, this one. Yes, which means it's not working. Why would it work? It needs to be this one. Window capture 5 is this one. And then I can turn that off of there. Blink. There we go. Ha. Told you I was getting stuff ready, and it just doesn't mean that I was ready. And yes, so Tinkercad, so that we can actually start doing the stuff. So yeah, this week, Doom. Not necessarily Doom. Not necessarily Doom. I have had the Prusa Mini printing out. Let me see if I can get a nice close-up. Let's go back to the face camera. Some discs, as I drop them on the keyboard. Some little discs. These are to allow for air in a vacuum bag, because I finally got myself some vacuum bags. The shelf, I've got RepRack V1 on my wall, which I think I've shown off before. Can I show it off now? Do I need to show it off now, or do you all know what a wall of filament looks like? Either way, yes. So I've been printing out some little orange discs. We're gathered here today to say goodbye to a perfectly fine printer, ripped from its original configuration, way ahead of its time. It leaves behind perfectly parts and abilities. It leaves behind perfectly fine parts and abilities. That is a great intro. You should write my intros. Oh, you clever so-and-so. Clever so-and-so. Let's stop saying the word and get into it, I suppose. We have... Actually, let's not get into it yet. We have got a window that doesn't need to be visible. We have got our list of parts to PrusABlokify. As my mouse makes the camera move. As my mouse makes the camera move, let's do that. And then do... Nope, that. There we go. And then... that. Right. There we are. We have got the list of parts that we are going to PrusABlokify. We've worked out roughly, as we've been building it, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 11 parts, essentially, that we are going to turn into PrusABlok. So I'm happy with this list. Do I have another Prusa Mini to hand? Or do we need a Prusa Mini? Actually, I did prepare for this. I'm going to transition back to the browser window, and hopefully it will change the tab that we are viewing. And here in Tinkercad, we have got a fully assembled Prusa Mini. And this way, we can see the parts that we are going to take apart. I need to stop putting my hand on my face. We've got all the parts. We know the parts. We know what we're doing. We're professionals. We know exactly what we're doing. We are going to be ripping apart the front cover, the front of the y-axis, the rear of the y-axis, the electronics enclosure, which is Mini Z bottom, which includes Mini Z top. We are going to do the Y-Idler piece. We're going to do the Z potentially do the Z carriage, do the X end, and the Z top, which should give us on the extruder. That would be all of the pieces, and all the extrusion, as by default, is just being replaced with. Yes, Ace. Welcome. Morning. Built to just be taken apart. Exactly. It's built. We're going to print on it. It is going to print its own pieces. You know, that was one of the original the rules. Yeah. That was one of the rules that we agreed to in part 1, the half-baked planning session. So get over it. Streaming while sitting down feels so weird. But hey, let me just transition over to this shot again for you, Ace. Here is the Mini. The Mini is happy. It will home if I tell it to home. I just shoved it on the shelf so that I could put the top-down camera pointing at it. Yes, the print bed is clean. The printer is ready. Let me go to control and ta-da! It's alive. So you can't complain too much. Destroy, build, destroy. Destroy, build, destroys newest season. We could turn that into a thing. If you all think that would be fun, we can add more printers to the queue. I've got one in mind to do, because, you know, why not? But as we're aware, we are here to make the next thing. Make the next thing. Make the first thing, which is the Y plate front. Is it the Y plate front? The Y plate front and the Y plate rear. A method to mount the NEMA 17 motors and the rods, the idler, make the whole base of the Prusa Mini. Because I didn't transition. I forgot to change shots. Where is it? This one. This one. This one. Yeah. Transform. Fit to screen. Transition. Transition. It's not. I need to stop using Edge. I need to use a different browser. Oops. Yeah. So we're building the original base, essentially. Yeah. 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 Have you seen that show, Cartoon Network show from my childhood? No. I haven't seen Destroy, Build, Destroy. I didn't know it was a thing. That's something I'm going to have to go have a look now. Go have a look at now. Right. Let's do this. Let us download the parts as reference. Where is it? Y plate front, Y plate rear. Can I just download? There we go. Y plate front, Y plate rear, download those, and then import them into that there Tinkercad. And then we've got reference geometry that we can work from. Name kind of says it all. They take something, destroy it, rebuild it to a newer, cooler thing, then blow it up. Oh, well, I'm not planning on blowing this up. There is no plan to blow up the PrusABlok once it's working. If it gets to a point where it never works, then that's an entirely separate conversation. He's not planning, but it will happen. Herzl, your confidence makes me feel great. It really does. your extrusion, your extruding of confidence just makes me feel fantastic, and I'm glad that you've got so much faith in my ability to be incompetent. As I get distracted once again and have to remember to open something in a split screen view on this device in front of me. Opening the split view with that. And there we go. And then go on. Go on. I'm not distracted. You're distracted. You're distracted. There we go. Right. Let us glue this. Oh, wait. No glue. That's an established rule. So we will tackle Y plate front. No, Y plate rear, because that looks like the easy one. So what are we talking about? It is 54 by 45 by 168 in its base configuration. Yeah. In its base configuration, it's 168, 45 by 54.95. So PrusABlok works in a base 8 or base 16, which means that every single PrusABlok connector hole, as we see here, as we did see, and then I moved it, as we see here, is spaced 16 millimeters apart. And if you're doing a standard grid, so the standard grid is 16 by 16 on the spacing. It's a skill as soon as you deviate enough from the mean. Nobody said it has to be a positive delta. Has to be a positive delta. Thank you. I don't fully understand what you mean by that, but thank you. So if you're going for a more denser grid, you have them spaced horizontally 8, vertically 8, which gives you the star pattern, or you've got the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, or you've got the grid pattern without the centerpiece. So it all depends on what it is that you're making as to how densely populated you want those connector holes to be. In this case, we're making a front plate. We might want to put custom imagery on it. We might want to put writer's blocks on the front. So this is not the PrusABlok. This is just a different Prusa Mini. On the front, it says Prusa Mini. we can have that in the grid made out of writer's blocks. So you can put whatever name onto the front of the printer. Which means if we stick to 168, that is nearly 160, which means 10 connector holes. So we can take these four we can take this array here. Let's take another one. We can go duplicate it. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because 4 times 16 is 64. We've now got 8. We can take this assembly here, this group here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Because we are 3 connectors apart. Group it all together. Let's make this translucent so we can see through it, which is the T key in Tinkercad. I'm going to start saying hotkeys at some point. So we know roughly that 160, so 10 connectors wide, does pretty much work for the faceplate. However, we could go a smidge wider. If we go a smidge wider, then that means if we go a smidge wider, that means that we can have a more stable base to work from. It gives us some more flexibility in how we mount the Z-axis in the future and the electronics enclosure. It opens up opportunities for that. It also opens up the screen where we are going to put that on the faceplate. But again, it's PrusABlok. We can change it at a later date because it's PrusABlok. And let me just, on the topic of PrusABlok, I am going to send a base set of blocks to print while we're doing this. Send a base set to print on the PrusABlok printer while we're doing this. If you want me to repeat stuff, if you want me to slow down, or explain what the hell what it is that I'm actually thinking as I'm doing these things, please tell me. Because I've not done a design stream. This is something new to me. So if you need me to explain things to make them make sense, I am more than happy to do so. Nope, not that. I want that. I want this on my tablet in front of me so that I can more easily see the chat as I'm going, because I can't actually see Chrome properly. There we go. And then do this. And there we go. I can see the chat better now. How tall is this piece? How tall are we talking? If I do that. No, it still only tells me 54. Right. Let's go to basic shapes once again. Sorry, I just clipped the microphone with my watch. We're not quite 20 thick. 20 millimeters thick. What I will do is this. Duplicate it. Turn it into a cutting piece. And then position this somewhere in the middle so that it gets fully chopped. We know that this cube here is 20. So let's just group that. And we are left with 8.5. So that means the front and rear plates are 12 millimeters tall. We are going to make that 16. Because why wouldn't we? Which means, move that over a moment. Grab another one of, ungroup that. Grab another set of connector holes. So that's 11, so that is 176. And then we shall do 176 by 48. So let's go 176. Oh, that one needs to be 48. And then 176. And a height of 16 because, hey, yes, Ace, Tinkercad. Who doesn't like Tinkercad? I love Tinkercad. Radius 1, step 1. There are 2 versions of Tinkercad visible on that screen. There should not be 2 versions of Tinkercad visible on that screen. There we go. Now you can see it better. Herzl, I know you don't like Tinkercad, but you teach people how to use Tinkercad. So do you not think that's a little bit hypocritical that you say you don't like it? Come on. You're all missing a golden opportunity. Oh wait. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Goodness knows how many connectors are there right now. 33. 53 connectors. So that's already 53 objects that we have to take account for. Shove it in here, shove it in there. So align it horizontally, align it horizontally, align it vertically. Grab another set. Grab another set. Mirror it, well, rotate it. Drop it to that top surface for a moment. Drop it to the floor. Set that as the floor. And then drop it once again. But you could do a tutorial for relevant functions. Dub that and save myself a lot of work. I could do that. I don't know what I'm talking about in this. This is how I would tackle this problem in all of my daftness. Oh wait, it's 48 wide at this point with the rod holes. It's not 48 wide for the whole thing. 48. Which means duplicate, drop it, group it. Oh wait, ungroup it. Turn the faceplate into a hole again. We know it's 12 tall, so let's set it back to 12. All right, please. For just a moment, give me this. Actually, let's make it 11. 11. Group. Nope. Forty-eight. 48, 48, 48. That. and then we group it. No, it's not a fully flat surface on the top of this piece. Right, now group it. So it was 48, it's still 48. 5 tall. Place it in the center. Place it in the center. Go up a little bit. Now group it. Okay, so we are left with 8. So it's 40. And then the rod holes come out halfway. So it's 30, 40, and then 36. Does that make sense? So this piece is 36 up to the halfway point through the rod holes. 36 up to the halfway point of the rod holes. Huh? So that would be 32. And then we can snap the rod holes on top. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, let me explain what I'm thinking here. Let me explain what I'm thinking. So we know that it's 8 extra. So let's focus on this piece here. If we make it 32 millimeters tall, get rid of the 1.5 extra rows of connectors off the edge. So that gives us a 2 by 11 block. So a 2 by 11 block. Yeah, that's 2 by 11 block. That 2 by 11 block, we can then figure out where the holes are going to be for the rods. Oops. Floor it again. At which point, Cragord, anyone smell that burned wire smell? Or NM, is it just Doug doing math? Or, oh, never mind, it's just Doug doing maths. Yes. Well done. You got me. You got me. So we have a 2 by 11 block, at which point we can then make a piece that will hold the rod holes. So we know it's 8mm rods. So let's just, for the time being, make a simple... Oops. Welcome, Cragord, by the way. You delightful individual of a troll who stole my name but didn't steal my name. What we can do is make a rod holder, at which point we achieved what we need to achieve. Something to hold the rods in place. So if I just transparent that a moment. For an eyeball guess, that wasn't bad. Sorry, you stole mine, I had it first. I don't think so. I don't think so. Let's just move this to the end. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So this is one of those dimensions that we do have to care about, because we're not replacing the bed plate. No, you don't. I refuse to accept that. You do not, and I refuse. I refuse. As I was saying, this is one of those measurements that we do have to care about. We're not replacing the aluminium plate on the Prusa Mini, this one. We're not replacing the bed holder, the Y carriage. Can you even see that properly? Solid, let's make it a different color. No? Fine, that color's fine. So we're not replacing this Y carriage because that's way too much work. We could, but that's one of those where I don't see any benefit. So the belt holder, the carriage, that's fine. We're just assuming that you've managed to somehow pick up a Prusa Mini that's got a bent aluminium extrusion and a cracked faceplate. I'm just going on that conclusion. No, Gregor, I don't believe that you are as old as you say you are. So let's think for a moment. What can we do to make a piece that can be used for both? Do we make a piece that can be used for both rod holder thing, both rods, or do we do the thing where do we make non-unique pieces for the front and rear, or do we come at it from do we make unique pieces for the front and the rear of the y-axis, or do we try to adapt existing printer block pieces? As in, we've got the 2x12 here. So the 2x11, that's a standardish block. That's fine. But do we make a rod holder block? Because that's a small part, that's a small adjustment, and make it work for both the front and the rear plates somehow. So let me just grab the front plate, which is here. No, the rear. Yeah, this is the front. So let's grab the front over here. Focus in on that. Let's rotate it to be the same orientation. Or do we make, yes, do we make unique front and rear, or make something that's generic enough that can be used elsewhere? Because I don't foresee what am I going for here? I don't personally like making overly unique pieces. If I can keep it generic, great. Otherwise, I'd rather have... It's either got to be generic and usable everywhere, or it's got to be so bespoke that it's single use. that was the issue with the original Core XY. When I used rods for that, I was trying to be clever. So I was just trying to be ridiculously clever and have as generic blocks as possible. And then I came to the conclusion eventually that you've got to look at what all the holes in the back are used for. So where was I going? The issue I had with the original Core XY when it was using 3mm rods and 28BYJ48 unipolar motors that were converted into being bipolar motors, aside from the flex of the rods, was I was trying to be clever by having the blocks be generic and being able to use them everywhere. When eventually, when the solution ended up being keep the blocks specific and then you were able to reuse them elsewhere. That was the problem that I came to, or the conclusion that I came to. Have them specific, have them be specifically generic. And that thought process was a pain in the backside. To get to that point was a pain in the backside. So in this case, sure, we could make a generic rod holder block and from that be able to, from that generic rod holder block, be able to do whatever else that it is that we need to do. Now, as you've just said, Kragord, I need to take into consideration what all the holes are being used for in these pieces. So these diagonals are for the extrusion. We don't need those. So these diagonal holes are for the aluminium extrusion, which we're getting rid of. These holes here are for the stepper motor. Now, I've already got a NEMA 17 block. I think that is what you're going to be looking at. The back and front are different enough that if it can just make a one size fits all, or if you can't just make a one size fits all. So they're not ridiculously different from first glance. No, not that. That. No, not that. This one, duplicate, and then let's align it here and here. And then we take 1 and 2, and then we shuffle them over. 1, 2, shuffle them over. Flippity-doo-dah. We can rotate this one to make it the same orientation as to when it is in production. And if we align it on the one side, rather than align it in the middle, we can see that the rod holes match. The rod holes match, the extrusion holes match, but again, the extrusion holes don't matter. We've got the screen holder bracket on the front, which easy enough to snap into its own piece. We've got screw holes for the Y tensioner, which, again, we do pass-through holes. We make the connector holes go fully through the block that we're making, so that way we can put screws through. Screws for the tensioner are permitted because it's interacting with hardware. as we've established previously. So really, 2 rod holders. 2 rod holders and a way of securing the NEMA block in place and then ensuring that the idler block can be positioned correctly. Permitted by who? What do you mean by that? Did I say permitted? The screws for hardware components, according to the rules, as we established in episode 1. So let me just bring up those rules. Let me bring up the rules. Whoops. I need to that one. Let's bring up the rules. Bring up the rules. Bring up the rules. Window capture. Existing. This one. And then Notepad++. Smack in the middle of the screen. There you go. No glue, 3D glue, or screws. Screws for interacting with critical components. Oops. Critical components only. Example, screws for motors or keeping bearings or rods in place. That is thank you. That rule was established in part 1, where we laid out the groundworks for this entire project. There we go. Come at me, Ace. Come at me. You know, and 7.1, keeping it fun. So screw it, let's have a reminder. We're keeping it cantilever. We're keeping it 3D printed. The structure via printer block only. Motion components and kinematics must be stock. Bonus points if we can keep the stock firmware. Reuse as many of the parts as possible. So we're not going out there and buying new pieces. No glue or screws. No glue, gloop, or screws. It's a mini. There's hardly anything not critical. True. Screws for interaction with critical components only. So screws to mount the NEMA 17s to the blocks that then allow them to be mounted to the rest of the printer. There we go. And then, yeah. This is going weirdly today. Yeah. And so, we've done this. We've built it in a stock configuration, and we've taken note of what parts can be printer blockified, and we are now on part 2, redesigning the pieces that can be printer blockified. The thing. I did the thing. It's been printing for a while. I say a while. Whoops, that's my belly. There. It's printing some printer block. So we know it works, even though I did show off these rings earlier. So what was the consensus? What was the consensus? Try rod holders to begin with? I think rod holders make sense. At which point we can just go from there. So it's 2 rod holders that are smaller overall than 2 giant bespoke blocks. Yeah. 2 rod holders make a lot more sense than 2 giant bespoke blocks. I am in a flat view rather than... What is this called? Perspective view or orthographic? Is that a bit... What size do they make those holes? What size do they make the holes? Because if it's LM8UU, then what are they doing hole size wise? Huh? Source. Printed parts. IPT. I don't know what an IPT file is, so I can't even open it. I can't open an IPT file. So I don't know what size holes they're making. Are they 8? Are the base mechanical parts swivel? No. Doug, explain what you're thinking. Well, Doug, that's pretty easy. It's what I'm thinking right now is the Y rod is how big? 8 millimeters. It's 8 millimeters. So I need an 8 millimeter hole. So why does the hole look to be 9 millimeters rather than 8? It's a good question, Doug. Have you considered that maybe it's oversized? Or it's actually a 10? Are they clamped? No. No, it's I don't recall putting a screw in for it. It's a solid face. It's a solid face on it to stop it sliding back and forth, and then it's a split circle, so it expands a little bit as you put it in to then be a pure friction for it. Pure friction fit. So I'm just gonna 8.2. And then center it on this block. 8.2, 8.2. Radius 1. Step 1. And I guess I need to work out what it is I'm thinking. What is it that I'm thinking, Doug? That this one should actually be still 16 by 32 instead. And then we bump it up against the edge here. Because I don't foresee it getting in the way. We can then You're crazy. Why am I second? Why am I crazy? What have I just done? Just arbitrarily bumping it up? All right, I've got to head out to work. Good luck with the rest of the modeling. Thank you, Ace. At least somebody's got faith. Hmm. I've just realized that I am actually making a mistake. Because. Oh, okay, I asked what you were thinking. I may be making a mistake in this piece. Simply because I might need to make it arbitrarily, say, 24 millimeters thick. Now, the reason being is because we need to affix it to the rest of the model. In which case, height of 8, width of 32, length of 32, radius 1, steps 1, because it gives us the nice chamfer. That way it can be clamped. Oops, wrong one. Drop it back down. No. Drop it back down to the floor. And then bring this up. Make that taller. No, that. And then bring that back down. So this way it will, actually let's make it 48. The whole piece. We've then got a rod piece that's the whole thing. And then we can take a 2x2 half block, because 8 millimeters would be a half block, because if a normal printer block is 16 by 6 is a 16 millimeter cube, a half block would be 8 millimeters. And that way it is held in place more securely. So if you, for some unholy reason, picked up the printer by the Y plate, you wouldn't then lift the entirety of the Y assembly out. Because that makes sense. That makes an awful lot of sense. Oh. This is hard. Doing this live is hard. Yeah. Modeling the PrusABlok printers live is hard. Because we still need to do the motor mount, which it's a NEMA 17, and I've already got a NEMA 17 block. Do I have the NEMA 17 block model to hand? Do I have it to hand? Huh. Let's just go through the madness for a moment. What I can grab. What can I grab? Actually, that's a tangent. I'm going to save that for a moment, and then I'll show you in a moment. PrusABlok Core XY, no. Josh's version, no, no. That's the table. That is me attempting to do the chest. Automated bottle cutter. It's got to be more recent than that. You know what? I'm just going to go to the Delta block. Okay. Here is a motor block. NEMA 17 block. So let's just copy that and paste it in here for a moment. So, if you were curious, this is how it all started. This linear motor based Cartesian bed slinger PrusABlok printer is where it all began. This nonsense here is what started me building 3D printed 3D printers made from a 3D printing specific construction toy called PrusABlok. Hypothetically, with a print area of 32 millimeters cubed, this produced a square-ish, this produced a blob. Today, Doug's Rise to Insanity, the prequel teaser. Yeah. This is the prequel of my Rise to Insanity. This PrusABlok printer is what started it all. In theory, it could have done a cube, a Gigantoblock, a 32 millimeter cube. Those Gigantoblock could then be snapped together to make bigger blocks. So then you could make the 120 millimeter bed PrusABlok printer. That could then print parts for the 180 mil or the Ender 3 bed, the Prusa Mini bed, or the Ender 3 Core XY, or potentially, once we finish it, the PrusABlok. This thing here could bootstrap. It could wrap its way to printing a bigger printer, because normally 3D printed 3D printers get smaller. So they suck, to put it bluntly. I don't like 3D printed 3D printers that make smaller 3D printers. I like 3D printed 3D printers that can make bigger 3D printed 3D printers. Which is why it's not going to load, because it's too big of a project at the moment. You know, the Delta block with its linear rail holders. So where are they? Where's a linear rail holder right now? This one. This is an idler holder. So this could print on this. This idler is a 32 cube. Idler block is a 32 cube. It will fit onto the original Cartesian linear motor based 3D printer. And while this block maybe not, you could break it down into smaller pieces to then make a bigger 3D printer. These would break down into 2x2s. to then use connectors to put it all together to then make bigger blocks to then make the printer assembly that way. That's what I enjoyed with this. And so we come back to the PrusABlok. Let's just jump back into this section here. It's the mount for the NEMA 17, which means we can put that onto here. And then, no, wrong way. There. Will that interfere? So what we're looking for is being able to reuse the NEMA 17 in some capacity, use the location holes of the NEMA 17 as a reference. So let's just bump it vertically up for a moment. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. Which means this rod holder needs to take into account the NEMA 17. How big are the NEMA 17s on the Prusa Mini? By how big, for the y-axis, how thick is it? Is it a 42? Is it smaller? Is it bigger? Where are my calipers? Ow. Stabby. It's a 40mm. It's a NEMA 1740, I think. It's about that big. Yeah, it's about that big. So 40mm. I can't really shrink that block any smaller because it would have to be the next order, that's currently 48, which fits a 40 something inside. So that works. Prusa Mini is making strange noises. It's doing something. It's clicking a little bit. Why are you clicking? I don't know, but it's clicking. Oh, of course, the window capture's broken again. This one, this one, this one, this one. Fixed it. Now you may be wondering, how do we fasten this in place to make sure that tensioning it doesn't pull it off? We've got space up front that we can put a block into, which means we can be cheeky with this rod holder. That block is going to have to be something other than PLA. That stepper motor can get hot. Hey, guess what? Guess what? That's why it's got vent holes. The connector holes act as vent holes. And they don't get too hot to be PLA melty because the Delta's fully PLA, the big Core XY is fully PLA, asterisk. The Mini Core XY is fully PLA, asterisk. The only piece that I've not done as PLA on these printers is the hot end mount. It's the hot end mount. That's the only thing that's not been PLA. So let's jump over to the Tinkercad for a moment, back to my Tinkercad archive. The only thing that's not been PLA is the hot end mount, which the hot end mount, when I find the project, just the Prusa Mini. This is the most recent iteration of the Core XY I've been working on. When it loads, the hot end mount. The hot end carriage, I should say. Or the X carriage. This piece. Printed out of a sample-sized piece of PETG. And that's it. The motor blocks, PLA. They're PLA. The bed mounts, PLA. It's all PLA. Yes, it can get melty, can get hot enough to be melty, but that's why you check the VREFs. The motors don't need to run that hot. On the big print block printer, the one that was sponsored by Polymaker, that did have issues with the Z, but I didn't set the VREFs. So the Z motors, no, not the Zs, the XY, sorry, AB, the XY motors did get a bit melty. But again, I was able to reprint those on that printer while they were a bit melty, and it worked. I don't have one of the originals because I got rid of my pile of scraps. But yes, they're fine. Wow, that has not shown you anything as to what I've been showing you. Or did it? Did it? Yes, it did. So this being PLA, generally speaking, it's fine. I've not encountered issues. So let us modify this block. Let's make this one also 32. No. Let's do this. Let's take this one with its hole. Duplicate the hole, take that. Let's shuffle it over and just mirror it. Can we? Does it? No, it doesn't. What I was questioning here was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 doesn't work. So it's not the same distance from this edge as it would be from this edge. If we mirror it again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, no. Let's line up the hole. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Nope. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 28. It's 28 away from the edge. That is not quite right for what we're thinking. What can we do? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So that'll put the spacing. So that lines up there. This needs to be correctly aligned with these holes, there is sufficient space. There is sufficient space with the motor block is now aligned with the connector holes on the 2x11. The rod holder is, which means the rod holder will have a hole that aligns with this connector hole. So maybe I should make that for a moment. Let's do that. Let's make the rod holder block. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's grab some connector holes. Grab some connector holes from over here. Ungroup those. Let's go 1, 2, duplicate, bring them over here. Ah, I now know why the Prusa Mini was clicking. It's clogged. I'm going to have to cancel that print. That's annoying. Dashboard. Pause. Cancel. That's annoying. That's annoying. That's really annoying. Top down. Transition. Yeah. You can see it's just under extruded. Oh, that sucks. That sucks. That really sucks. Oh well. Oh well. I'll deal with that after we finish today. Darn it. Gosh darn. Okay. Back to. Let's make the rod holder. Or should I say, let's finish the rod holder. We don't need that there. We can mirror it, well, rotate it, drop it to the floor. We need another one of these. And we place it at the end. And we grab another one, and we place it at this end. Then we grab another one, rotate it for the top. And then another one for the base. Duplicate 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we don't need it actually. What we do need is 4 on one side and not too many on the other. Oops. Right. So, let's use these ones as the point of reference. Align it up. Flip the connector and make sure that it is horizontally in the middle of the block and the whole thing is sunken in. What this means is that when you turn these connector holes into actual holes, booleans or whatever you want to call them, when you take them away from the rest of the object, you end up with a nice little sentence that you cannot finish saying. Duplicate you. Rotate 180 degrees. drop you at the top of that piece, drop that back to the floor, drop that into there, and then when we group it together, we will have the start of the rod holder. So let's make it solid instead of translucent. So that's the start of the rod holder. What we do at that point is we then take the thing that will be the rod and place it in the middle. At which point we can group that together, rotate it to be the right way, and place it back on top of the 2x11, and there we go. The rod will now fit at the side next to the motor block. Now, is that motor block going to be in the way? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that motor block's going to be acceptable there. Where is it? Documentation. Mechanical parts. No. Print settings. No. Bill of materials. y-axis.md. The bed slides over the front. So what we need to check here, we'll bring it out into this piece, into this project file. That did not bring them all. Copy, paste. There we are. Rotate it to be the same orientation, drop it to the floor, and then we will align it at the edge. Nope, we won't. We will place it into the wall. Into the faceplate, sorry. And then, no, I should group it together. Right. Sorry, group it together. And then let's move it, eyeball it into, this is the wrong side of the printer. Mirror. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Have I been working on the wrong side? Mirror it this way. Mirror it that way. Huh? What have I messed up here? I think I've been working on it backwards. CAD streams are always nerve-wracking things. It's not too bad. It's more the I'm questioning my sanity to make sure that what I'm thinking makes sense. But hey, that's just a theory. It's somebody else's problem. Welcome, Reliance. How are you doing today? How are you doing? Oh, I worked out what I'm doing wrong now. Silly me. Let's grab this back over here. Let's mirror it once again. And then it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's roughly in the right place. That makes some semblance of sense. Sibilance. This is the way we drive to work, drive to work, drive to work. So early in the morning. You're preparing for a non-CAD stream. I am envious, but we got to the point where the Prusa Mini's assembled. We've got no choice now. We now need to CAD the parts to make the thing do the thing. So, yes. The motor, that Z holder, that Y rail holder, and a 2x11, they make sense. Mine will descend into madness without CAD. Yeah. Yeah. So now we take the other Y rail holder. Let's just merge that together for a moment. Duplicate it, paste it in. No, didn't mean to duplicate it. I meant to copy it. Copy it, and then paste it. No, wrong window, Doug. Paste it in. And then we drag it over to where we're looking at on the actual Prusa Mini model. Place it here. And plonk, 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 plonk. That also looks like it's in the right place. So this Y rail holder is good. This Y rail holder is good. I think. So perhaps, are there going to be any, is that going to crash into, oh, it might crash into it. Yeah, that's going to crash into the motor block. Yeah. So if we have a look at the bearings, unfortunately I don't have an exploded version of this project. Also did a temp tower chair test on the U1, knocked off the plate, last 2 or 3 layers. Oh, that's not fun. That isn't fun at all. What am I thinking here? Thinking something, but I can't make sense of it. So these come all the way back. This comes all the way back. Best thing I could see is correct temperature in the center of the temperature tower. Yes. At least it got to a point where you were able to make out what temperature that you needed. Let's go for change shots. So the thing that I'm trying to work out on this Prusa Mini right now is, where does it crash into the rear? Is it, where are we looking at? Because we can work around it. Oops. If we know where it's hitting, we can work around it. And it is hitting all the way at the back with the bearings. So when we're looking at hours, it doesn't look like it's going to get all the way there. Come on. That one. That one. So it doesn't look like ours will get all the way to the back at the moment, because I don't think there's sufficient clearance for the Y belt holder before it hits the motor block. Which is really inconvenient. How can I illustrate this? Let's do a nice big cube. So let's do 140 by 1. That'll do. So let's go to this wall here, where the Y belt is. Let's place it on there and bring it all the way back to here. And move it up into. Is that the Y belt? Is that all of the correct place for the Y belt holder? So if you look at the green thing, you can see where it's going to crash into the motor block as it's currently located. But equally, if we duplicate it for a moment, the potential path, and place it onto the what's it called? Bearing holder. Let's make our way in here. Bearing holder. Place it in there. We can also see that the bearing holder is going to crash into the motor block too. So the motor block is going to be an issue. Unless we simplify it down. Can we simplify it down? Yes. We can skeletonize it. So let's do that. Let's skeletonize the motor block. Get rid of you. There's 2 of you. There's 2 of you. Are there 2 of you? Nope, there's not 2 of you, but we can get rid of you. Let's skeletonize the motor block. Drop it, go over there, and go over there. What is the spacing on a NEMA 17? NEMA 17 screw hole spacing. We are 31 by 31. All right. And it's what? M3? M3, which is, I don't know how big M3 holes are. Oh wait, haha, I can do this. By this I mean just dismantle the block as was. And then I can do fun things. Still needs to be 48 so that we get the correct number of connector holes, but we can chop off a lot of it. So let's just do that. Let's just chop off a good chunk of the motor block. All the way there, and then we go up to there. It's ugly, but it'll do. Let's just tidy up and remove one, oops, and then 2 connector holes on the back of the block. 3 connector holes. Can we get it? Is it going to let us click it? It's one thing I don't like about Tinkercad, but hey. And let's group it together. How does this look? Arbitrarily weird? Yes, very weird. Let's just fix that a moment. Let's align it up with this edge here. Be a bit more reasonable about it. And get rid of these 2 connector holes. Try and get rid of these 2 connector holes. Come on, click in the right place. Oh, for goodness sake. There we go. Now click in the right place. So this should now be small enough to not have any collision issues. In theory. In theory. No collision issues with this one. I have my doubts. But let's have a look. Let's paste it where this one currently is. Rotate its orientation to be correct. Then we... Oops. Move it in place. And then get rid of that. It looks close, but it equally looks better. It's close, but it looks better. It stands a better chance of clearing. So there's one way to find out, and that'll be when we print it. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's going to be fun. That's going to be lots of fun. Lots of fun. How are we doing? Now let's hope physical will actually match. Exactly. Exactly. That's where we're at with it. We All we can do is hope that the physical matches the model nonsense that we have produced. That's all we can do. I just hope that we make it match well enough that we can still keep the stock firmware. That is my personal big thing with this. I want to keep the stock firmware. So, let's have a think. Let's have a think. We might need to shrink. Well, we can't really shrink that backplate down. So we've lost 8mm by default, but we can regain it at the front because it just it homes at the back. So if it always thinks that the back is 0, then it doesn't matter how far forward it goes. So let's think about this for a brief moment. The front plate, we can keep the 11x2. Keep the 11x2 of the front plate. Oops. And then, what are we thinking first? We've still got the same rod holder problem. So duplicate that rod holder, mirror it, and then shove it at the end. That gives us that rod holder back. No, it doesn't. That gives us this rod holder. Or is it that one? I don't remember. I don't remember. Ah! Ah! Brain, come on. Huh. No, we don't need to mirror it. Because it'll be here. No, grab you. Or is it mirrored? Is it mirrored? Hold on a minute. Huh? That rod hole lines up. We can agree that that rod hole lines up. No, it does not line up at all. What? So you're telling me that this one doesn't line up? Where are you? You don't line up either. Why don't you line up? The motor lines up. Oh, come on, brain. This is the joys. This is genuinely the joys of working around somebody else's project. But equally, this is the stuff that this is I hate the expression. This is one of those things where I need to decide or work out what's more enjoyable. Doing it verbatim on camera, where you see the entire design process, or if doing something abridged where I go away after today, spend an hour or so figuring it out by myself to get this alignment sorted properly, to make sure that everything's going to be okay, and find out, oh, is this piece that I'm referencing here the same as this piece that I'm referencing here? But I don't want to detract from your enjoyment of these streams. So in the comments down below, please let me know if this verbatim me going through and figuring out what on earth is going on is something that you enjoy. Because outside of the novelty aspect of, this is Tinkercad, this is ridiculous, I'm not sure. I'm not sure at all. This is horrible. Because here, they're lined up. And if I copy that part, paste it in, it should rotate, faceplate, drop it to the floor, and then move this out of the way, align it on that edge there. No. So what's the difference? Have they modelled in the felt feet and I've not noticed? Did I not notice something? Get rid of you. Bonk. Bonk. Huh. Bonk. And bonk. My point of reference wasn't correct. Yeah, my point of reference wasn't correct. I was not aligned correctly. But that still doesn't answer what I'm doing wrong. Hard to give feedback. It's like a train crash you can't look away from. You can give feedback. The best kind of feedback. You can hit the like button. If you're enjoying watching this train wreck of Tinkercadding a PrusABlok printer instead of doing something proper, like, oh, I don't know, using a different piece of CAD software that works. I say works. Clearly the error is sat in this chair, not elsewhere. But this is more brain energy. Brain energy. See? This is more brain energy than Thursday, where it's 9 p.m. at 9:30 at night, or 10:30 in Central European time, or 4:30 on the East Coast. This is this is just purely a train wreck that you can't look away from. I like your analogy. It's good. It's very good. Okay, back to the front plate. I'm going to do this. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna take this, take this, take this. No, this. I'm gonna duplicate. I'm gonna mirror it, and then I'm gonna slam it at the front. So the rod holders work on the front plate. What doesn't work on the front plate is the stock for the Y tensioner. So we need to make a new Y tensioner, which means pocket nuts. We need to make new pocket nuts that align up correctly. So it's a 2 by... Oh, it's one of those. It's going to end up being like that. That's horrible. That's horrible. Let me explain what's horrible. Huh. How to explain what's horrible here? Let's focus in on these as a whole. Right. Wall. Reference point. Reference point. So, the typical is a cross. The typical hole pattern is a cross. This Y tensioner looks like it has to align on the plus. So it's going to be non-standard, as usual. But hey, that's fine. We can deal with non-standard. Non-standard, nonsensical is what we do. Let's steal some from over here. 3 and then 4. Duplicate, drag them over. We go 32 by 32 by not 32. 8. And then we bring it in to be the main focus. At which point we group, duplicate, flip, place you on the floor, place you on the floor, place you at the top here, and then we align it with this, giving us a half block. Half blocks are great. They really are. Because now we get to have some fun with building some walls and figuring out, based on the GitHub repo, we need the Y. Where is it? Custom parts. Foam pad, U-bolt, texture, Y carriage, smooth rod. Where's the printer parts? We need the Y idler. Why doesn't that link to the Y idler? Bill of materials. No. We need to go to... What about 1/3 blocks? A 1/3 block isn't really a 1/3 block. A 1/3 block's more of a quarter and a little bit, because the thinnest blocks you get are plates, and they are 4.4 millimeters. So you've got 4.4, 8, 16, and then increments of 16. So 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, and anything in between. I've now got the baby belt, so I can eventually do a 1024 1 meter long printer block. Mini Y idler.stl. Let's download this and let's use it as a reference point. So yes, you end up 4.4 is a plate. So this is 40 by 29 by 23. We can live with this. Mini white idler. All the way over there, but let's bring it over here. Meow. We can live with this. What shall we do? We could cheat. We could very much cheat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then just hope that there is sufficient space. We could just merge it together as PrusABlok now. What's that in normal measurements? In terms of millimeters, so inches, it's about 3 feathers. Yeah, it's about 3 feathers. Okay. Okay. Right. Ungroup. We keep that one. Right. Right. I need a 4mm hole. Why 4mm? Because 3, it uses an M3 at this point. So we need a 4mm. And we need this 4mm to align with these connector holes. So let's do this. Duplicate. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Get rid of ungroup. Get rid of those 2 and those 2, and then we drop that. We get rid of you somehow. Right, rehold. Drop it down. How big is the idler? Fasteners, electrical parts, standard parts. 326H idler. Okay, well, what's the dimensions of a 326H idler? A 326H idler is I want a 326H. What's the dimensions of a 326H? Why am I looking on here when I've got the bill of materials and that includes the whole documentation for mechanical parts with a 326H idler? Because it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. Why would it? Mechanical parts. No, that's where I just was. Bill of materials. Y-axis. Let's go back to looking at 326H. Thanks. For goodness sake. Right. I hate this. I hate this. Let's make this smaller and smaller, and then let's just shove it into the middle of this at the halfway point. Okay, turn you into a hole. Let's just cut you out. We end up with 14. Why do we end up with 14? Because it didn't cut out some bits. Okay, let's shrink you down even. No. Let's ungroup you, shrink you down even more, move you up a little bit, and then group you again. And we end up with a gap that is 10. A gap of 10 in the middle. We can deal with the gap of 10 in the middle because we've got plenty of room because we've got 32 mil. So let's do 8 by 32 by 6, not 16 by 24. Rotate, duplicate, shove you over there. Right, you go there. You go there. And then we align you in the middle. And there we go. Radius 1, step 1. Same again, because it gives us the nice edges that we love. There. And then we need the aesthetics. We don't need aesthetics, but we can't go. You can't go wrong with it looking right, can you? 2, 3, 4. Duplicate. Drag you over here. Group. Duplicate. Rotate. Align. In the middle. On the face. In the middle. You should be but you're not, because you're 24, not 32. Never mind. Get rid of you. Go away. No one wants you. So it's an M3. So let's figure this out. We need an M3 hole. M3, so that's what, 4mm? Or 3.5mm? And then it's a button head at the top, wasn't it? Nope. I'm going to be cheeky. I'm going to just steal the button hole. The button head hole. Because I can't work it out off the top of my head. Shrinky shrink. Focus. Shrinky shrink. And then one. Right. Duplicate, move you out of the way. You and you. No. You and you. Let's group you together. Nice. So how tall are we? 6. We are 6 tall, which makes it 6mm on top of a 4mm. Or is it 3? So 6mm, 6mm, and then give it some height of arbitrary 4. And then what did I set the width to on that? I set it to 8. So you need to be 8. You need to be 8mm tall. Come on. 8mm tall. Then we group you together. Get over here. 1 and then 2 and then There we go. Why are you all the way over there? Nice. Group. Looks about right. We'll save that for later. Okay. Halfway up, in the middle, sunk into the wall, but then make it a bit higher. Something about there. And then it's a hexagonal hole on the other side, so let's do all of that again. Or it's an M3 hex nut. No, it's not an M3 hex, it's an M3 locking, isn't it? Either way, this is quicker. Drop it to there. Shrink you back a bit. Group. Rotate. Where did you go? Why are you all the way over there? 5.6 by 6.47. So let's get a hexagon. Rotate it in the same direction. 6.47. And then 5.6. Does that look the same? Looks the same to me. Duplicate it, turn it into a hole, shove it over there. Then we come over to here with the rest of the idler. Shrink it down to be 8mm. Let's go 9mm tall. Rotate it, turn it into a hole. And then we align it with the screw hole that we stole earlier. Screw hole that we stole earlier. Screw. This is why you constantly see me move things out of the way, because I can't always grab the thing that I want to grab. There we go. Shove you down there. Square nut holes. We need a square nut hole. How can I steal a square nut hole? Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's just move it arbitrarily in roughly the right place so we can get an idea of the size that we're working with. Group you together. Focus. So we are talking about a 4.5mm hole that is arbitrarily thick. And yes, I agree, hexagons are indeed rather radical. So 4.5 by arbitrary 8 by 3. You know, I've got the hex nut, the square nuts. I could just measure them. Oh, you know how I lost the square nuts and had to take them out of the spares bag? Yeah, I found them. They were in a different bag, different box. So let's measure a square nut. 5.5 by 6 by 1.7. So height 1.8, width 5.5, length 6. I don't know. It's more than 6, isn't it? It's because it's up to and a little bit past the screw hole, which is 4 in from the edge, so let's do 10. And then, once again, duplicate. We align it to the middle, we align it to the middle, and we align it to the face. And then we spin it round and we shove it on the other face. And then we look at it from above and make it arbitrarily a little bit longer, 11. No, 12. And shove it in. And we get the previous one, we also make that 12, and then we shove it back in. And that should be the Widler. The Y-idler. Oh wait, I didn't need the holes at the top. So let's get rid of you. Get rid of you. Group. So that's the Y-idler, which the Y-idler then goes up here, and then back here, no, back here, and then gets aligned somehow. How many? It's 6, so we need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 48. 56? 48. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is roughly in the right place. That's roughly in the right place. So once we get some screw holes through here on the face plate, on the front face plate, we are then good. Did I find the gummy bears? I will confirm nor deny if I found the gummy bears. I will neither confirm nor deny. But what I will confirm, it is 3:15. We have accidentally gone over by 13 minutes, 15 minutes. But hey, by the looks of it, we have got something that mildly resembles the front and rear plates. So let me move out the original pieces. Let's get this in place. So let's drop that in there. No, drop that there. Drop it there. Hang on a second. No, wrong way. We go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got something that resembles the rear and the front. Out of blocks. Group, drop, ungroup. A stream has no end. See, I unfortunately have commitments that have to be attended to, and I'm not on about needing to go to the toilet. I'm on about other bits that I have no choice over. But by the looks of it, we have got a front and rear for our PrusABlok. Oops. So you tell me. You tell me. That seems sensible, right? Can we distinguish that? Does that make sense? Does that look right? Details. There's always a choice. Not always the best one, but there is. Unless I want to be... No. I'm not saying it. But we've gotten somewhere. This one's been tough. And this is the easy parts. How on earth are we going to keep going? This is the easy parts, guys. Right? This is the easy ones. Step one, exactly. Exactly. We're building it in the same order, I think. So we're just going to focus on the y-axis, because at this point it's then just like GigantoBlok to span the gap. By which I mean just you know, GigantoBlok. That will span the gap. We've got some weirdness going on there, but that's fine. That's fine. I'm happy with this. And if you're happy with this, you can always click a like button. You can always click like if you're happy with what you're seeing in this nonsense, because that's how I know that you're enjoying it. And if you're not enjoying it, you can tell me and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So we're going to carry this on Thursday, aren't we? We're going to carry on Thursday at 21:30 British summertime, which is 22:30 Central European summertime, which is 4:30 p.m. East Coast, which is 3:30 for Texas, which is even weirder for West Coast. Piled. Oh, Piled 3D is a great guy. I need to talk to Piled more because he's great. He's one of those people that does cool things. And on the topic of cool things can be found if you decide to hit the subscribe button. Because again, I'm still trying to write a script for RoboPad, for a RoboPad video. I'm getting there, but I'm hoping to have a RoboPad video. Oh, dude, I'm glad. I'm glad that you're able to accommodate Piled 3D. Right. Thank you once again for joining this nonsense. This start of designing the disaster has been a disaster. And on the topic of disasters, this is what happened. It just stopped extruding. So I need to go also unclog the Prusa Mini. Bye. I will see you all on Thursday. Something along those lines. Disaster? I'm here. Well, it's too late, Herzl. You're too late. But you're not too late to hit the like button. You're not too late to subscribe. You're not too late to look at the links in the description that will take you to 3D Jake and you can have a look at what they've got on sale. Because, hey, I get some kickback if you use that affiliate link. You don't have to, but it'll be nice. Do you know what else is nice? The stream ending. Bye-bye.